Hi. I'm here now in Mysore, in a beautiful, I just got here. I'm gonna practice some Ashtanga yoga, but actually this video is all about Vipassana. I just finished a 10-day Vipassana course. We started on the 27th of January and finished actually this morning on the 7th of February. And Vipassana meditation, many people know it as a silent meditation because you actually basically cannot speak for 10 days, which I have to say was actually one of the easiest parts of the whole technique. But Vipassana in a way comes from the teachings of Buddha and actually is the path of liberation. So by actually practicing this technique, the idea is we want to get rid of all the misery that we have accumulated through the past life or to this present life, or any case all this misery that will come afterwards. So we try to somehow go deep into the unconsciousness level of our own mind and get rid of all this misery to actually be able to live in peace and harmony with all beings and being compassionate towards everybody. So I have to say it's something really hard to do. It's probably one of the most challenging experiences of my life. I think the most challenging easily of my life. For the mind, I have to say it was not so hard. Actually, my mind was actually pretty much sure there was some noise and distractions, but basically there were no really deep issues that were coming up. But also specifically for the body, it was really painful because you have to sit for so long and you actually have to see this pain and try to become equanimous to it, to realize that it's actually impermanent, in the sense that it's always changing, no? You know, that's somehow the objective of this technique. But to go a little bit into the technique, let me explain you that there's three main principles that you have to follow, which are Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Sila refers to morality, which means in the sense that in order to achieve liberation, we have to live in good morality. And good morality means that we cannot perform any sinful actions. We should perform only wholesome actions. And you may wonder, okay, what does it mean to be sinful in a way? Sinful means that you have to, all the actions that might create negativity towards ourselves or toward other beings are considered sinful actions. So they're not improving somehow the well-being and the harmony of the whole entire universe. So all those things we should actually avoid. And performing wholesome actions is the opposite. It's all the activities that actually improve the well-being, now not only of ourselves, but everything that is surrounding us. So how to practice this good morality? In the Vipassana meditation, there's 5 precepts that you have to accept in order to take part into the course. The first precept is no killing, no stealing. Then we have the precept of no sexual misconduct, which means that you cannot perform any sexual activity or sexually misbehave. Then we have the precept of speaking only the truth. And here comes the part of no speaking, because of why this is a silent meditation technique. The things like every time we might say something, they might become something that is not truth. And this not necessarily comes to the fact that is maybe we're not lying with an intention, but actually it might come out of our ignorance. So that's why in this speaking with only the truth, they require that you remain silent for the 10 days of the meditation. And the last thing, but not less important, is to not take any intoxicant. This means you cannot take any drugs or any alcohol during the period of the whole course. Which, of course, by applying these 5 precepts for 10 days, you actually start developing this sense of good morality, which I have to say, it really gives you understanding of how to become more compassionate towards other beings. But after taking these 5 precepts, you start working into the Samadhi. And Samadhi means actually the mastery of the mind, which means that we have to try to gain control of the thinking process that is occurring in our head. And how to do this? Well, there's actually, they somehow focus on the beginning that you have to concentrate only on your breath. So you start breathing for the first day, and you have to concentrate on the sensation that you feel on your nostril, especially on the outside of your nostrils. So you kind of feel the breath coming in and coming out of your body. And then you start bringing this sensation into the upper part of the lips for the next 2 days. And after you have gained somehow some kind of concentration, because I have to say it was really hard to get this concentration because there's always some kind of noise in your head, and there was a lot of noise in my head, I have to say, but somehow after a couple of days you start getting somehow some control and you start sensing things on your body. And that's where actually the part of Panya comes in. Panya refers to true wisdom, or to the universal knowledge, or the insight, as you want to call it. So they say one of the true, one of the universal truth is the impermanence of everything. It means that everything is constantly changing. And they say, of course, you can understand this truth and in the intellect level, but unless you understand it within the framework of your own body, you will never be able to actually see the whole truth as it is. So that's somehow what the Vipassana techniques comes in. You have to experience this impermanence of sensations within your body in order to liberate yourself from all the pain and all the sorrow and all the misery. So after the first few days where you're concentrated, gaining some control over your mind, then you start going into the Vipassana technique, which you have to kind of like scan your whole body from head to the toes, and just to see the sensation that you have in your body. And the objective here is to remain equanimous. It means that you should not react with either craving or aversion towards sensations. Because nowadays we have been programmed not only because of the way we grew up, but also because of the things that we're bringing from our past life, if we live in that. So all these sensations, all these things have been accumulated into ourselves. And every time our body gets into contact with something outside of us, we will produce a sensation within our body. And this sensation will produce either pleasure or disgust. And when we produce pleasure, we start developing this craving because we want to feel again this sensation. We want to feel it again, experience it. And when it produces the opposite, when it produces disgust, we actually develop this aversion because we want to get rid of it. We think we just want to enjoy only pleasurable things. And that's somehow what Vipassana is trying to do, like that you look into your body, you look into the sensations that are occurring all across your body, and you remain equanimous. It means that you actually are becoming completely objective to them. You are not reacting, you are not creating more cravings or aversion, because through craving and aversion, that's where actually all the misery of our life comes. Because when we don't have something we want, we actually feel miserable. And when we have something that we don't like, we also even feel even more miserable. So that's the objective of the whole Vipassana meditation, is to actually become aware of these sensations and actually develop this sense of equanimity, that we remain completely objective, that we don't really react anymore, and we start understanding things as they are. Things that they are completely impermanent. They're all with the time changing and never stays the same. And that's one of the universal truths that exists. And unless we experience it within ourselves, we never will really understand it and come out of our own misery. So yeah, sorry, it wasn't probably a lot of information I just gave, but somehow I just wanted to give you a short brief of what Vipassana is. I have to say it's something really hard to do. It's something that they say it takes years somehow to master. You have to keep practicing every day. I don't know, I will try to do... let's see what it happens. I cannot really say that I'm gonna continue practicing this meditation technique, but it gave me somehow this insight of actually just looking into ourselves, focusing on my breath, especially when I'm confronted into a situation when I feel a lot of cravings or I feel a lot of aversion. Just feel my breath, and through my breath I can understand somehow the sensations and see what is happening within my own body, deep into the unconscious level, and hopefully be able to come out of the reaction mode, instead of reacting like we normally do, start seeing the truth of what is happening inside and then acting with complete wisdom. So that's somehow what I want to try to keep applying into my life, I guess, and just wanted to share this with you. Yeah, I know it's really crazy, I have to say. If you feel interested, just Google it. You will find a lot of information about Vipassana. It's really an amazing technique, but I have to say it's really challenging, so you have to feel somehow ready to confront yourself in many ways. But it's only a technique that only brings about more awareness into yourself, and it will always help you to become more compassionate and more loving and towards all beings. So of course it's a very good thing to do. If you have the willpower to do it, I would recommend it. But just as a last comment, because I don't want to make it more long, just remember that everything is impermanent, everything is constantly changing, and we should not actually waste the time we have. We have to actually see things as they are and stop reacting like we normally do, and actually see things with more truth, with more awareness, and actually be doing more wholesome actions, as they say. So let's see what's going to happen. Now I'm in Mysore, so I'm staying in this house. I just got here. I have a good friend who's living there, and I'm gonna be practicing Ashtanga yoga for the next 3 weeks. I'm actually really excited because after 10 days of only sitting and not moving my body, I really feel I need to get into the flow again. So yeah, that's so far what I've been doing. I hope you're all doing great. Remember, I always love you, and yeah, let's keep sharing this love and compassion to all. Bye.